comes from a kind of a similar background where Rustin was already a coach with a lot of experience and then spent his first semester of this class reviewing the literature about coaching. And it's not the first capstone project on coaching that we've done, but this was a little bit more focused. Then Rustin had the idea that he would survey all the coaches in his league, and that didn't really work. We didn't allow quite enough time for the IRB proposal to go through. So Rustin changes his project from a research project to a project that I think can be used for talking points and maybe something more like a magazine article, and certainly for public presentations to highlight a particular issue. So I'm going to move this to a slideshow because I think that will be helpful.
All right, well, welcome everyone. Thank you for coming. My name is Rustin Hitchcock, and as you can see, I did my capstone project on youth coaching in Alaska. What I really wanted to achieve with this was to find, because our state is so diverse geographically and culturally, what the main issues affecting the field of youth coaching would be that makes it in Alaska be so unique. So my personal background, I have 14 years coaching youth sports in Alaska, which conveniently is half my life. I have 6 years at the high school varsity level, and then 8 years recreational youth leagues like Boys and Girls Club. It's been ranging from sports, from basketball, soccer, flag football, hockey, softball, anything that they needed fill-in for in the community. I did so, and as a high school community service project. Brief background about ASA. They were the one governing body of high school sports and activities such as art and drama in the state of Alaska. They were formed in 1957, predates statehood. There were two predecessors, one for the southeast and then one for western Alaska and Anchorage areas. And so in 1957, the Department of Education came in for the territory of Alaska and said that they needed to standardize it across the state to differentiate it from local business leagues and high school sports teams. So then we have 4 enrollment-based classifications that were established in 1981. And what this means is with these 4, you'll see a breakdown of these 4 classifications a little bit later, but they are based on just the total enrollment 9th through 12th grades in your institution. And today they now sanction 33 activities, and like I said, that goes from sports to the arts, and then also approximately 190 member schools. Some of the lower classification schools phase in and out of existence based on enrollment in the more rural areas of Alaska. So I did a comprehensive review of literature, and there were 2 studies that I really wanted to focus on because it really contained the true spirit of what I wanted to achieve with this project. So the Richard 2012 study, there were 8 coaches who had just completed a 3-day education course to really reflect on what strategies they can use to work around the issues they experience and to help them just, develop themselves professionally as a coach. So it was a qualitative survey, and with Alaska and coaching, I wanted to see what was the experience that the youth athletes were going through. Is it of high quality? Is it a positive experience? And so I really felt like that study kind of laid some groundwork of what I originally wanted to achieve, like Dr. Jackie was saying, with a survey of the coaches. But we had to just interview them and still obtain the same type of data I wanted to obtain. And then also the Gilbert-Trudell 2001 study. It was a deductive analysis of 19 coaches who were going through when is the right time and to what level disciplining players. What are the adverse effects on the athletic performance of those players? So that was, again, another thing that the kids were going through, and I wanted to focus originally on, in today's society with this generation, are there things, disciplinary issues included, that are making them either more involved or less involved in youth sports? So the inspiration for the study, during that review of literature, there was a lack of any study based in Alaska, and I really wanted to help fulfill that gap of literature. Also, with ASA, starting with the 2012-2013 school year, there were rule changes that we'll cover here soon. And I wanted to find the impact of what that was on certain school programs, if that was affecting the way they now are doing things. And then also with coaching, I mean, the main focus should always be about the athlete's experience. And in this current state of affairs, how can I build awareness and educate myself to provide a better experience for my athletes? So the recent rule changes by ASA, 8th graders are allowed to participate in smaller classification schools as long as their total enrollment is under 20 or that the gender enrollment is 10 or less. And what has been developing now is schools with, let's say, 10 boys, they all play basketball or all play volleyball or some sport in their school, but because of the enrollment clause, they're still being able to bump up 8th graders. So there's now a proposal to change it to a need-based clause to where if they have enough to satisfy a team while still keeping the athletes safe with substitutions and rest, that they will know it won't just fall under enrollment, but also the need-based clause. Also, starting with this season, coaching certification, it goes through the National Federation of High Schools, and it's because of all the information we're now learning about concussions and other types of injuries like that, ASA is now requiring that them all be certified to create a safer environment for the athlete. And then the main focus I wanted for these issues was the reclassification of divisions. The change of enrollment, as we can see with this next slide, really stacked the lower classification. If we take a look, all the numbers of each classification has changed to where there were lower end 4A schools, which are the bigger schools in Alaska, who were not in a competitive situation for them as they were going from 450 students to playing against schools of 1,000 with these central Anchorage schools. So with this reclassification numbers, the big number I want you to see is that with 2, 3, and 4A, they're all in the low 20s for the amount of schools, but in the 1A, there's 100 plus schools now, in which most field a basketball team or volleyball team or whatever the sport is. So that was creating a logistic nightmare for ASA and the conferences for scheduling.